Right now, we want to go ahead and go back to our breaking news coverage, if we can, of the shooting. Multiple people shot there. There we go. Near 31st and Harvard in a neighborhood. Captain Richard Muhlenberg is now on the scene speaking. If we can go ahead and listen in on that.
Individuals were having some type of altercation. This has happened earlier in the day and is kind of continuing on. I don't know beyond today if this is going on for days or weeks. So behind us here, this altercation culminated into a shooting. From what we understand right now, I don't know if it was a back and forth shooting. I don't know if it's all one-sided, but I can tell you that the suspect fired what we believe to be a handgun at this time. Multiple rounds were fired upon this group. And like I said, one black male in his 20s is deceased at this time. We have 3 others, 2 of which in critical condition and 1 unknown. Officers got here as quickly as possible. We had reason to believe that the suspect might have been in a home behind us here, so we made announcements into that home, and we were able to get a family out and secure it, making sure that the suspect was in fact not in there. Right now, warrants is activated, homicide's activated, and all of patrol is looking out for this person who is armed and dangerous and a continuing threat to the citizens of Tulsa. So I've got a bit more of the suspect information, but I can't give it out right now because we're still developing that. So until we get all the witnesses spoken to down to detective vision and kind of get all the pieces together, right now all I can share with you is that this was an absolutely tragic incident where people were arguing with one another that erupted into horrific gun violence, and someone's lost their life because of it. Any questions I can answer for you?
So to be clear, was it one shooter that shot multiple victims?
So we have at least one suspect shooting multiple victims. I don't know if other suspects were involved. I don't know if the victims shot back. So it's very preliminary. We just cleared this house moments ago. So crime scene is now able to go in and start working the scene. So until we start picking up the physical evidence and seeing what kind of casings we have, what kind of bullet impacts we have, we won't be able to determine if it was multiple people shooting or just one person. And
I'm sorry, did you recover a weapon?
Not that I know of. I do know that there were several impact rounds. We do know that a vehicle, possibly a silver vehicle, left the area that was struck multiple times. We have some information that the officers might have found that vehicle, but I can't verify that at this time.
What does the public need to know at this time?
I can tell you that this area here is safe. I couldn't tell you if he has other intended targets, but we can say if this individual is found, he is armed and dangerous. So if you know anything about this by word of mouth, or you might hear something in the street, we ask people to call us. We ask people to call us and let us know, and we're working on this case all night long, and we're not going to go home until we figure it out.
Richard, you keep saying he, so you, just to clarify, one shooter by himself and then a group of victims?
Quite possibly.
Together?
So quite possibly. Right now we have a primary suspect, but we haven't yet ferreted it out if we have other suspects, but we do know we're looking for at least one primary suspect who fired with a handgun at multiple victims. We still cannot verify if maybe he was accompanied by other people, if those other people fired a weapon or not, or if the victims themselves also fired a weapon. So we're still very early on, and we're going to hopefully get that information here this evening, very soon.
So 4 people shot and one of them died?
That is correct. I have got one person who's deceased and 3 other people who were shot, 2 of which in critical condition, 1 is unknown.
And do we know the races and genders and ages of the victims?
Generally, yes. They're all black males, all in their 20s.
Did this happen outside, inside the house?
It happened outside of a home where we believe the suspect fled into, but we have since cleared that, and he is not in that home.
So this wasn't a drive-by?
It didn't seem like a drive-by. It seemed like this altercation had brewed up at this location. I couldn't tell you if anybody has more of a right to be in that location because it's still very early.
How concerning is it? I feel like we're seeing a lot more of this young people solving conflict with shooting guns.
This is kind of, a problem we're seeing in this country in general. is, we can have all the old stories. As an old person myself, we'd say, hey, we should just go, with fists. But now people, they'll go to the gun because it's kind of a cowardly move, and they can, just injure lots of people without having to actually put themselves at great risk. So it is a problem that we see in this country where people just can't figure out their problems and they go straight to violence.
And again, if you could give us
Captain Richard Muhlenberg with the Tulsa Police Department. If you were just joining us at this hour, 9:12 p.m., I want to go over what he was saying real fast. 4 people shot in a neighborhood just east there of 31st and Harvard, or in the area of 31st and Harvard. It's east of Harvard. 4 people shot, 1 person dead. 2 others are in critical condition. A third is no known condition. Now, here's what you really need to know if you are at home tonight. They say the shooter is still out there, and they really don't normally say this very often. They say that the person is armed and dangerous, and they say there is a threat to the public tonight. They say at this point they do not know if there are other intended targets. So, not to scare you, but just be on the lookout for anything going on that doesn't seem right in your neighborhood. Definitely call 911 if you see something like this. They do assure Tulsa Police they will not go home until this is solved. We will stay there on scene. We will have another update coming up for you in the next 15 minutes.